The message from my mother appeared on my screen, cold and final. "You're banned from Thanksgiving until you apologize, idiot." The words were a blade, severing the last fragile thread of a connection I had fought so hard to maintain. There was no call, no discussion, just this digital decree. For a moment, the pain was a physical weight. And then, something inside me, something that had been bending for years, finally settled into a state of calm, unyielding resolve. I smiled, not out of happiness, but from the profound clarity of a quest that had just been assigned to me. The quest to find my worth, beyond the price tag my family had placed on it. While they were carving the turkey without me 3 days later, the first of the bills I had quietly been paying for years began to bounce. My phone lit up like a signal flare, 87 missed calls. But that was merely the first tremor of the awakening I had set in motion. My name is Madison Cole. For 27 years, I was the quiet one, the keeper of the balance sheets, the one who made sure the lights stayed on. In our family, I was the foundation, buried deep underground, while my cousin Dylan was the glittering spire everyone admired. He was the golden child, his every success a family trophy. I was the practical one, my success, measured in my ability to solve financial crises. When Dad's surgery left them with staggering bills, I stepped in. I saw it as my duty, an act of love. But a switch had flipped. I was no longer a daughter. I had been reassigned as the family's safety net. The phone plan, the internet, the groceries they pretended they could afford, it all quietly migrated to my accounts. I said yes, every time, believing that this financial martyrdom was the language of love. I would look at the old family photo on the mantle, me in braces, Dylan grinning without a care, and let myself dream that the scent of Mom's apple pie was a promise of a different dynamic. But the pattern was a cage. Every request for respect was met with, "Don't make drama." My role was clear: be silent, be supportive, be paying. The Thanksgiving ban was not the beginning of the war. It was the end of my long, quiet siege. Seeing my name absent from the guest list for a holiday I helped fund was the final clue in a mystery I had been trying to solve my whole life. Did they value me, or just my utility? The answer came in a chorus of silence from the family group chat and my mother's flat voice over the phone, telling me I was unwelcome until I apologized for daring to question Dylan. In the background, I heard the laughter of my family, a party I was no longer invited to. That was the moment my quest truly began. I sat at my kitchen table, the silence of my apartment a stark contrast to the noise in my head, and I opened my notes app. I began to chronicle not just a list of payments, but the story of my own erasure. Dates, amounts, reasons, tires for Dad's truck, Mom's prescriptions, the mortgage top-ups. Line by line, I built a ledger of my own invisibility. The title of this new chapter was simple: What They Don't Know Is About to Save Me. I sought the wisdom of a mentor, my friend Grace. In a sun-drenched cafe, I showed her the binder I had filled with my evidence. She looked through it, her eyes growing sad. "You have been a fortress, Madison," she said softly. "But even fortresses need to open their gates to let their own spirit in. It's time to reclaim your citadel." Her words were my map. The next day, I began the quiet, methodical work of reclaiming my kingdom. I revoked autopays, transferred accounts, and severed the financial arteries that connected my life to theirs. It wasn't an act of aggression. It was a ritual of reclamation. With every click of the button, I felt a piece of my soul returning home. The fallout was immediate and chaotic. The frantic calls began. The world they had built on the foundation of my silence was crumbling. When I finally went to see them, the air in their kitchen was thick with the dust of fallen illusions. I placed the binder on the table. "This isn't an attack," I said, my voice steady with a newfound power. "This is an accounting. Of your bills and of my value." As they flipped through the pages, their faces shifted from confusion to dawning horror. Dad's voice was a whisper. "We didn't know." "You didn't want to know," I corrected gently. It was easier to believe in Dylan's golden narrative than to see the quiet cost of it all. When Dylan arrived, smirking and ready for a fight, I simply slid a page of his own text messages, pleading for money, across the table. His smirk died. The hero of their story was suddenly, starkly, human. "I'm not asking for the money back," I told them all. I'm asking for my life back. From now on, you handle your own bills. I've left instructions. My quest here is complete. I walked out of that house not in triumph, but in peace. The afternoon sun was clean and honest on my face. Driving away, a familiar fear whispered, "What if their silence becomes your permanent exile?" But as I kept driving, I realized that the silence I had feared for so long was not a punishment. It was the fertile ground where my own voice could finally be heard. The weeks that followed were a journey into a new land, a land of my own making. My paycheck was mine. My peace was mine. Dad called with a raw, unpracticed apology. Mom invited me for a simple dinner, her hug at the door speaking volumes her words never could. The binder now sits on my shelf, not as a trophy of a battle won, but as a sacred text from my past quest, a reminder of the journey I undertook to discover that my worth is not a line item on a balance sheet. I don't know where the next holiday will find me. But I know this: my place at any table will no longer be purchased with my silence, or my sacrifice. It will be given freely, or not at all. For the greatest treasure I found on my quest was not freedom from them, but the unwavering love and respect for the person I had been all along, Madison. Their daughter. And finally my own.